Hello everyone, this is discussion board number 3. The first question asked, in what ways could you vary your instruction to ensure you are reaching all the various learning styles you may have in the classroom? I believe that although very difficult, it is possible to ensure that you are reaching all the various learning styles. I do not feel that there is one activity or way of teaching that will allow for this. So one must realize what type of learners you will have in your class. After doing this, a teacher must design the appropriate activities for their learners. One way of doing this would be breaking up your students into groups and assigning each group a different activity. Each group would have the same type of learners in it. This way they can all work on an activity together and retain as much knowledge as possible. You must also teach the subject in a way that is best for your students, making sure everyone is paying attention and participating. Be sure to incorporate visuals, sounds, hands-on activities, critical thinking questions, group work, and self-study activities. If one is able to incorporate all these components, every student should be able to retain what they are being taught. After giving a lesson, assign an activity, whether it be by themselves or group work, to make sure they are getting it. Also, I think it goes without saying that a teacher should always be walking around and always be making sure that students are getting it and aren't just sitting in the classroom and dozing off or sitting there on their phone. I see that way too much when I go and observe. So many kids have their headphones in. You need to make sure that all of your students are there to learn and are paying attention. Like I said, it's ridiculous to me when I see a teacher that should have this compassion and to teach and is allowing for their students to just doze off and fall behind. The second part of the discussion board that I chose to talk about was what types of considerations must be made when planning to use computers in a classroom. I wrote some considerations that must be made when allowing students to use computers are that not all students will have had experience with computers. Technology is becoming more and more vital in our life every day. However, that does not mean that all students will have access to computers at home, so some students may have never even used one before. With all students not being on the same level, this will cause some students to fall behind because they cannot type as fast or know how to navigate a website. Also, probably the biggest concern a teacher should have is distractions. I know when we went to the computer lab in my high school, the only thing I wasn't doing was the assignment or activity the teacher assigned. It will be hard to be able to view what everyone is doing all the time, depending on how the computers are aligned or how many teachers are in the room. I know that when I went to computer lab, there was always 2 teachers in there that were walking around making sure that you were doing something. So if you were on another website or playing a game or doing something, you had 3 teachers walking around. I think that computers are very beneficial, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to use them when I start teaching because of how many distractions they can have, and also because by the time I'm teaching, technology will have become so advanced that I'm going to be behind on what students can get away with. So that's why I chose to discuss this. I would rather them go on their own time or go to the public library. And then when I was talking about some students not even have used a computer before, I know that seems a little ridiculous to some of you, but I did have kids in some of my classes that just lived in not poverty, but definitely the lower class that just couldn't afford to have a computer, and it wasn't necessary for them to have a computer because their parents were they worked with their hands, or they just didn't need a computer. They didn't need to send emails. They didn't need to print documents or anything like that. I look forward to seeing what you guys have all written in your discussion boards. And everybody try to stay safe and stay out of the storm. Thank you.